goes on.
Oh, tempers flaring there.
I got that one wrong, didn't I?
This fight was heated. This fight had bad blood. Everything has changed tonight from that. And I don't know if we can do Thursday's press conference. I've got to be honest with you, because it will be attack on sight.
Didn't get hold of him because Conor was going, son. But then I had the opportunity. Then the big bounce come and jump my head off of me.
The boxing world has been buzzing with debate after Chris Eubank slapped an egg onto Conor Benn during their press conference. The incident has not only tarnished Eubank's image, but also disrupted their pre-fight dynamics. As a result, their planned face-off was called off in the aftermath of the altercation. The incident unfolded after the pair squared off in Manchester on Tuesday night. During the press conference, the two fighters exchanged verbal barbs, but tensions escalated when Eubank Jr. slapped Benn with an egg. Security quickly intervened as Benn attempted to confront his opponent following the altercation. Chris Eubank and Conor Benn were set to fight in April, but following this incident, their bout is now under threat.
Goes on.
Oh, tempers flaring there.
I got that one wrong, didn't I?
Eddie Hearn reacted to the incident, condemning Chris for bringing an egg to the press conference. While expressing his dissatisfaction with the altercation, he went on to say that it has now completely altered the entire game plan.
Everything he does is premeditated. Nothing that the thing about, what we do is when Eddie Hearn starts talking, you butt in and tell him no one wants to hear. Like, there's nothing that happens where he adapts to during a press conference. So I thought it was a bitch move, to be honest with you, because what he's done is he's taken an egg to a press conference. He sat at the press conference the whole time with an egg, and he's slapped Conor Benn in the eye with an egg. I thought it was a glass, I've got to be honest with you, because when it smashed and the noise it made, that's where I was sort of like, bits were flying everywhere, you know? And like, listen, I think the world we live in today, it'll go viral, people will think it's quite amusing, but I'll just tell you one thing, in the fight game, everything changes now about this fight.
This has come as a shocking turn of events for the boxing community, as fans now face the possibility of missing out on a highly anticipated fight. The incident not only highlights how quickly tensions can escalate, but also raises serious concerns about how fighters should conduct themselves. Eddie Hearn criticized Chris for the stunt, rendering Thursday's press conference a wasted effort. He also pointed out that Conor Benn will likely struggle to calm down, warning that the situation has now escalated into a much more dangerous affair.
People, they don't go and have a cup of tea and then forget about it and everybody calms down and goes, oh, it was what it was. This fight was heated. This fight had bad blood. Everything has changed tonight from that. And I don't know if we can do Thursday's press conference. I've got to be honest with you, because it will be attack on sight. It won't be have a sleep on it, calm down. No, no, no.
After witnessing the entire event, it's clear that tensions had been building from the start rather than erupting suddenly. Chris Eubank's promoter, Ben Shalom, spoke to the media about his early interactions with Chris before the press conference. He revealed that Chris appeared to be in such a frustrated state that he didn't even inform him about what he planned to say during the conference.
Just on that, I've just said, when that scumbag press conference happened, I said to him, tell me what you're going to say. I wasn't asking what he's going to do. He wouldn't tell me anything that he's going to say. Did I expect that? No. Should he have done it? No, probably not. But I don't think it was as bad as we first saw it.
On the other hand, Eddie Hearn believes Ben Shalom was aware of the situation. He angrily lashed out at Shalom, warning him to stay safe moving forward. The rivalry between the two promoters became evident as they exchanged pointed remarks, fueling the tension even further.
We are on good terms. I don't believe he didn't know about it.
No, you know I didn't know.
No, I don't, because I think you're a little bit snaky.
No, you know I didn't know. Don't talk.
No, be quiet.
No, can't say things.
No, stop, because then I'll take you for... Listen, I've been very nice to you lately.
You can't say things.
And I've been very nice to you lately. I've given you a big education in the last couple of weeks. I've told you were very lucky to be talking to me.
Eubank Jr.'s stunt on the press conference night was a response to Ben's claim that his alleged failed drug tests were caused by consuming eggs, a point Chris had brought up to mock his rival during the press conference. The 35-year-old Eubank also targeted Ben's promoter, Eddie Hearn, during the heated exchange, refusing to let him speak as Hearn attempted to introduce the fight. He said, "Eddie, you know I don't like you, to, right? So if you know that, what on God's sweet earth makes you think I'm gonna listen to anything you have to say? We're gonna skip past whatever bullshit you were going to say. You can sabotage the event and I'll just start talking to Ben directly. Eddie Hearn did not sit back and reacted to Eubank Jr.'s stunt, calling it a naggy move. While some may view it as a viral moment to generate hype and sell tickets, Eddie Hearn condemned Eubank for his actions, and he believes it was a premeditated move by Eubank to stir controversy.
I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because anytime an attack like that is like premeditated, I'm not like, if you have a head-to-head, someone says something, someone pushes you, you whack him, I get it. But to all sit there and go, yeah, right, get me an egg, yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to goad him on and then I'm going to hit him around the face, which was really in the eye, with an egg, yeah? Like, I get it, we live in a world, it goes viral, it's massive for the fight, it's an instant sellout, blah, 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 blah. But I just think it's a bit of a bitch move, if I'm honest. And everything that Eubank does is premeditated.
Reacting to the Eubank egg smash, Conor Benn also weighed in. While Eubank and his team may believe Conor is rattled or shaken, he swiftly cleared up any confusion. Ben made it clear who was truly rattled, hinting that it was Eubank's frustration that was exposed in his press conference stunt. He also blasted Eubank and his team for being so frustrated, unprepared, and filled with rage.
I rate it, to be fair. It's not really like his thing, is it? It's not really his personality. People say I'm phased and rattled, but the reality is, who's really more phased and more rattled? You look at the top table, what do you see? A broken team.
Nigel Benn also reacted to the egg-slapping incident, mocking Eubank's stunt. He pointed out that while Eubank had been ranting about Conor not being able to get to him, when the chance came for a face-off, Eubank ended up tossing an egg instead. Benn called it both ridiculous and cowardly, criticizing Chris Eubank for such a move.
You didn't just get slapped with egg in your face.
I'm just glad that Conor didn't get hold of him. That's why I'm glad that Conor didn't get hold of him, because Conor was going, son. But then I had the opportunity to then the big bounce come and jump my head off of me.
Legendary fighter Chael Sonnen also weighed in on the incident, condemning Eubank for his actions and suggesting that he should have shown more respect to his opponent, Conor Benn. He gave a firm thumbs down to Eubank's stunt of throwing an egg at Benn, emphasizing that Eubank brought something to the press conference that had no place there.
You're asking me thumbs up or thumbs down on what Eubanks Jr. did. Thumbs down. Look, brass knuckles and an egg aren't the same thing. Spray paint and a bottle of water aren't the same thing. But they're in the same category. They're foreign objects. You're not allowed to bring them. I mean, your opponent, whether he's your business partner or not, whether he's a guy who you have sworn and you're being regulated by the government to attempt to damage the next day or not, he still has a reasonable expectation.
Chael referred to Eubank's stunt as a dirty move, drawing attention to the violations that occurred throughout the press conference. He pointed out that, to him, even hitting an opponent with a hand is unsportsmanlike, but Eubank took it a step further by slapping an egg across Conor's face, intentionally trying to embarrass him.
Very dirty move. Very dirty. And not to mention, I'm not sure I fully get it. You took an egg and hit him with the egg. Why don't you just hit him with your hand? You didn't hit him with your hand because philosophically you know that that's a scumbag and a dirty move. So you put something in your hand designed not to hurt him, but designed to embarrass and inconvenience him. It's a very interesting thing. And when I've been places where Eubanks is, he's got a pretty large entourage. And when I've been places where Conor Benn is, it's a smaller entourage. And let's just say that that was the circumstances today. You got to understand, when you and your coach, you and your trainer step up to a situation where you're going to allow an engagement from the enemy who brings 10 times that amount of people, oh, by the way, has bad intentions, and oh, by the way, has a foreign object of any kind. It is a massive violation of trust.
with Conor previously failing a drug test due to consuming too many eggs, and now Eubank mocking him by slapping an egg across his face. The hype surrounding the fight has reached an all-time high. Meanwhile, the weight discrepancies between the two fighters have also been a major topic of discussion. Adam Smith shared his thoughts on how the weight difference could impact the fight when they face off in the ring. He pointed out that while Chris Eubank sees himself as the bigger fighter, Ben has transformed into a more imposing figure, bridging the weight gap over time. Adam also expressed his excitement to see how the egg-slapping moment from the first press conference would play into the second one, hinting at potential revenge.
He is. Naturally, when they were meant to get together 2.5 years ago, everyone was saying the weight discrepancy was all wrong. I mean, Chris Eubank really campaigned at super middleweight down to middleweight, and Conor Benn a super lightweight coming up to welter. So a huge weight difference between them, I would say sort of 2, 3, 4 years ago. But Conor has grown into the sort of higher divisions, and he walks around as quite a big guy. But yeah, physically and naturally, the structure is that Eubank is a much bigger guy. But Eubank believes he's more skillful than Ben. Ben believes he'll walk through him and crush him, and maybe there's revenge for the egg. We'll find out tonight at the second presser.
While Chris Eubank is considered the favorite by many due to his experience fighting big names throughout his career, Conor Benn has earned a reputation as an Iron Man. With the recent controversy surrounding Eubank's stunt, the anticipation for their fight has only grown. Renowned sports commentator Gareth A. Davies highlighted the significance of the moment, noting that it was difficult to restrain Conor Benn during the press conference following Eubank's stunt. He warned everyone ahead of their fight, stressing that when the bell rings on April 26th, they will witness a more dangerous Conor Benn than ever before.
Chris Eubank clearly having premeditated the egg slap, the scrambled eggs on Conor Benn's face. But I'll tell you something, it took 4 20-stone men to hold an angry Conor Benn down, didn't it? He is a very strong welterweight, I'll tell you that. And it's kind of swung it back in his favor a little bit. I think that Chris Eubank is the favourite for the good reason that he's been fought at the higher level, and he is naturally the bigger man. But that man Ben has got some ire and got some danger in him, and he will be even more dangerous when that first bell sounds on April the 26th.
The press conference may have been seen by many as an entertaining spectacle, but Gareth A. Davies highlighted the dangerous side of it that he now foresees. He explained how the fun could quickly take a darker turn and condemned Chris Eubank Jr.'s stunt, calling it a shame and asserting that it should never have happened. However, Davies suggested that the promoters would never allow Conor and Chris to come face to face again. While Conor has remained calm behind the scenes, Davies believes he will explode at Eubank the next time they meet.
It's a shame because these two guys are being given massive resonance and massive prominence, and I think it's probably an act that Chris Eubank shouldn't have done, but it's revenge over Clomiphene Gate, isn't it? So that's what he's doing. But he's ignited the promotion. It was a lot of fun anyway, and now they can't dare let Conor Benn near Chris Eubank Jr. because he will definitely fight him, because he looked calm behind the scenes afterwards yesterday, but as soon as he sees Chris Eubank again, he's just going to explode.
Commenting on the upcoming boxing match between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., Gareth A. Davies shared his thoughts on each fighter's strengths and weaknesses. He believes Conor might come out strong in the early rounds, but as the fight progresses, Chris will likely gain the upper hand. Davies outlined several factors that could put Conor Benn at a disadvantage, including the weight difference and how it could impact the fight's outcome. He also noted that Chris's experience in facing larger opponents in the past would give him a significant edge. On the other hand, Davies expressed concerns about Conor Benn's inactivity over the past 2.5 years, suggesting it could hinder his ability to perform at his best.
Well, it's at middleweight, and it does mean that Conor Benn's coming up 2 weight divisions naturally. He's not the biggest man. He's got a 5-inch reach disadvantage. Chris Eubank is 5'11", nearly 6 foot. He's been in with super middleweights up at 12 stone and handled himself very well against the likes of George Groves. Obviously a fight he lost, but he handled himself very well. He's had wins at super middleweight. I think we're in for a spectacular early start with Conor Benn attacking, but I think the longer the fight goes on, and this is just boxing wisdom really, the bigger man ought to do the job, and the bigger man in every shape and form is Chris Eubank Jr. What he is the older man, and Conor Benn's been fairly inactive over the last 2.5 years since those 2 positive tests for clomiphene have precluded him progressing his career. He's had 2 fights.
At the same time, Gareth A. Davies raised serious concerns about Conor Benn's chances of winning, revealing some shocking details. He pointed out that Conor is not fighting under a license issued by the British Boxing Board of Control. Despite his failed test being cleared, the fact that he doesn't hold an official license yet and has not fully resolved the issue could place him under unexpected pressure, further complicating his situation and making his case even more difficult.
In his career, he's had 2 fights under the Texas license, and in fact I think he's fighting now under an American license. It's not by the Boxing Board of Control, which is fascinating, which means they're still at a standoff with him over the outcome and details, the meticulous details that everyone went over for 2 years that we all got blue in the face, bored of talking about at times. It's still not resolved in some ways, even though he's been cleared.
At the same time, Conor Benn's promoter Eddie Hearn has rejected Chris Eubank Jr.'s proposal for a cage face-off ahead of their fight following the egg incident. That means Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn won't be stepping into a cage anytime soon, despite promoters pushing for extra protection during their face-off. In the aftermath of the egg incident in Manchester, several security concerns have been raised by the British Boxing Board of Control and event organizers. According to the reports, Chris Eubank Jr. will be summoned before the board, and they have already reached out to the promoters to discuss the next steps. As per the rumors, a second press conference is scheduled for tomorrow in London, with confirmation that Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn will square off on the pitch at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium rather than on stage. Boxers even tweeted that the pair might be placed in a cage, similar to the KSI versus Tommy Fury showdown in Misfits Boxing. A tweet reads as, "Hey Misfits Boxing, can we borrow this? Asking for a friend." However, in an exclusive chat with Bloody Elbow, Hearn confirmed that idea was not happening, saying, "Ben Shalom said to me last night, let's do a cage or some glass. And I was like, mate, no, we're not doing that. We don't go down that road. This is a real fight and this is a big fight for boxing, but we just keep security between them and make sure they can't get near each other. That's more than enough." After the cancellation of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn's face-to-face sit-down, the experts are advising to not let the both fighters come nearer. Eddie Hearn confirmed the security protection that would be particularly taken care of, pointing out at the rejection of a second face-off. At the same time, some people are viewing this chaos between the fighters as funny, and some of them are calling it disgusting. Eddie Hearn came forward to reveal the possible details after the incident. He said, "The reality is some people think it's no big deal, some people are disgusted by it. Whatever. He's attacked Conor, he's whacked him with something, and you can't expect Conor to be like, oh well, it is what it is. We've spoken to the board, and I know the board are calling Eubank in." Eddie added, "But away from that, they've also said to us, look, what are you doing about Thursday? What we've said is that we'll not do a face-to-face at the presser. We'll do it on the pitch. We'll have security between them, and we'll make sure that there is no chance of them getting anywhere near each other." Meanwhile, reactions to these incidents are continuing to intensify. Spencer Oliver stepped forward to share his thoughts on the escalating rivalry between the two, which became heated during the press conference. He admitted he had been expecting some sort of drama to unfold and wasn't surprised by Eubank slapping eggs. However, he went on to express how intriguing he finds this fight, emphasizing the excitement surrounding it.
Was you surprised? Was I surprised? Not really. I mean, I didn't know he was going to pull an egg out of his pocket and slap it around his head, but, you know, it was always going to be some form of drama. And yeah, it was always going to happen. It spiced it up. Like I say, I wasn't really surprised by it. Like, you know, maybe a little bit stupid, maybe not a little bit stupid. You know, maybe there was going to be something that's going to happen. Was it going to be Conor Benn? Was it going to be Chris Eubank Jr.? But I think that shows you the rivalry between these two and the feuds between these two and their fathers, and goes back 30 odd years. And yeah, it's going to be an unbelievable build-up. It's going to be a great fight. I can't wait. I'm actually at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tomorrow for the London leg of this one. And it's an interesting fight, isn't it? It's a really interesting fight.
Adding to the growing excitement, Spencer further shared his observations from the press conference. He noted that Chris Eubank Jr. appeared significantly bigger than Conor Benn, highlighting the noticeable weight difference between the two. While lacking full details on the rehydration clause between the fighters, Spencer admitted to having watched Conor Benn's father's fights and expressed that he expects this upcoming bout to be far more interesting than initially anticipated.
Eubank Jr., by the way, looked much bigger than him yesterday. That was the one thing that I did notice. It's going to be interesting, man. You know, Conor's gambling, moving up a couple of weights. I don't read too much into the rehydration clause because 10 pounds is 10 pounds. It's a lot of weight. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I loved it when their dads were boxing 30 odd years ago, and I'm looking forward to the sons delivering because I think it's going to be a great fight.
While discussions swirl around the possibility of Chris Eubank Jr. facing punishment from the British Boxing Board of Control, Spencer believes it won't be a major issue. Spencer also emphasized how this controversy has played a significant role in promoting the fight. He noted that with the stunt going viral, it will undoubtedly generate momentum, boost ticket sales, and ultimately increase recognition when both fighters step into the ring.
It will be a fine. That's what happens. You know, we saw that. I don't know how many times Derek Chisora has been fined. Like, I mean, he's a good mate of mine, Del Boy. And, you know, we have a laugh about it. But the antics that he got, it's all about selling the fight. Like, listen, after that happened yesterday, trust me, those tickets that sold, if they've already sold out anyway, they will be like gold dust because of what happened there. People love it. He's captured the imagination of the people. It already had captured the imagination of people. But, you know, whether it's a good thing or bad thing, it's got people talking. It went viral online. And, you know, Del Boy, like, he's picked up, I don't know how many fines in his career, but he'll get a fine, that's for sure. But, you know, to the money that he's getting, the money that he's receiving, Jonathan, I don't think it's going to be a big issue.
Dave Coldwell also shared his thoughts on the incident, reflecting on what he observed during the press conference. He stated that this moment has changed everything, particularly highlighting how he noticed Conor's father, Nigel Benn, trying to intervene amid the controversy. While some may see such incidents as typical at press conferences, Dave described it as a cheeky stunt that would ultimately backfire on Chris Eubank Jr. He emphasized that regardless of whether an egg is involved, laying hands on your opponent takes the rivalry to a whole new level.
Conor said, so then it's premeditated, and it changed everything, that, because that's a little bit naughty. Because I know it's all, you know, fun and games at press conferences, but when you lay your hands on another man's face, whether there's an egg in it or not, you've laid your hands on his face, and that takes it to another level. And the venom and the spite that's spewing from Team Ben right now, I'm not even talking about Conor. I mean, Conor looked like an absolute lunatic, but his dad, I was watching his dad spinning around there looking for a way to get in. Oh my God. He might be 61, but it's Nigel Benn you've just pissed off. Yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near him right now.
Dave Coldwell expressed his concerns about Chris Eubank Jr.'s strange behavior, recalling how he even told his team to shut up. Coldwell pointed out that this clearly showed a level of disrespect. He further suggested that Chris shouldn't have pulled such a stunt and warned him about the potential consequences he might face in the future because of his actions.
It's Chris Eubank Jr. and he'll do what he wants to do. I mean, you heard how he was speaking and even telling his own team to shut up. You know, so he's a bit of a maverick in that terms, but it was just because it was completely unexpected. Because Eubank doesn't do that kind of thing. He'll give it all that and put in one-liners or, you know, ramble on about it, but you never expect him to get physical. But he did, and yeah, there's gonna be consequences. There's going to have to be procedures put in for any future press conferences.
That's it for today into the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank saga. With tensions running high and surprises around every corner, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you stay in the loop because this rivalry is only getting more intense. Stay tuned for all the latest updates coming on your way.